Hi, everyone. My name is Wes Davis. I'm a family advocacy specialist at Joint Base Lewis McChord with the Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness. Um, Basically, today we're going to talk a little bit about stress. What is stress? What are some coping mechanisms for stress? Um, just kind of one after another, topic after, we'll go through it. So, stress is the body's natural psychological and physiological response to changes in their environment. Um, Basically, when you become stressed, hormones are produced by your adrenal glands and begin flowing through your blood system. These are called catecholamines and cortisol. So the catecholamines are dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. Right, those are the ones that get your heart rate going, elevate your blood pressure, and boost your energy supplies. So that's why when a lot of us get stressed or feel pressured, we start feeling our body just have those physiological responses. So cortisol is the primary stress hormone within that. So as you start to sweat, as you start to get frustrated, angry, whatever those cortisol levels are just spiking in your body. So the idea is to keep in mind that the way your body reacts. So if you're feeling a little bit of sweat come onto your armpits, if you're feeling your body kind of flush, that's those are the neurotransmitter bouncing through it. Hello, Beth. Um, so the way it interacts with your brain. So primarily, we function from our prefrontal cortex, right here in the front part of your brain, right? That's your logical part of your brain. Your day-to-day operation is driving a car, doing computer work, things like that. And what happens when you get stressed is that little link between when you get stressed, you stop thinking with your prefrontal cortex and you start thinking back to your amygdala. That's the firefighter part of your brain, linked to the fight or flight response. Excuse me. So when you start to get stressed, you no longer think as logically as you would. You go back to that part of your brain. It's very reactive. So when you're in like a domestic violence situation, or not domestic violence, you're in an argument with your spouse, right? Or you're getting angry with your children for whatever the reason is. I know we're all cooped up right now due to COVID-19. So when you're feeling those stressors spike, right? Keep in mind that you're no longer thinking logically in that moment. You need to find ways to calm yourself down. So the first part is identifying that stress. So everybody reacts to stress differently. The hormones function by interacting with your body and mind in a variety of ways, right? And that's where we talked about the sweating, the stuff like insomnia that kicks in. It also reduces your immune system. So whereas normally your body's immune system is pretty good at fighting off infections, common cold, flu, things like that, it lowers your body's immune system. So you have difficulty actually, essentially fighting off, sicknesses and illness, right? So during the situation with COVID-19, it's important to find ways in order to help reduce those stress levels, right? So bad stressors, are things like being cooped up in the house, not being able to go out and do what you want to do. You're worried about finances. Some people right now have small businesses that aren't doing very well. So those are all bad stressors that are kicking in, right? So there's also good stressors as well, stressors that help us perform better. So like receiving a promotion at work, getting married, starting a new job, buying a home, having a child. Those are all good stressors. They actually propel you into a level of change to where it boosts your brain power and increases your short-term immunity, can make you stronger, helps you become more creative, and it helps you motivate to succeed better, right? So it's important to be able to distinguish between the good and bad stress as well. Bad stressors, when you identify them, when you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're having difficulty finding that place to allow yourself to go back to sleep, and you just kind of stay in that same thought loop over and over again. Those are bad stressors, right? And so tools to work on those would be a couple of the techniques we're going to go over. We're going to go over one that's squared breathing. So squared breathing is if you are if you're feeling yourself get flushed, you're feeling yourself get angry, stressed out, whatever those pieces are, find yourself a nice relaxed area, close your eyes, and just picture a square, right? It's very simple. And as you picture this square, think from point to point to point, right? So the bottom point of that square, as you inhale, right, you go from one point to the next point. And as you hold it for 3 seconds, and then exhale from the next point to the next point. And now hold it out, then inhale from the next point to the next point. So you're slowly making your way around that square, inhaling and exhaling and holding it out. And what that does is it's actually bringing your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system in line with one another. And that's what helps to lower those cortisol levels in your brain. And that's going to bring on that relaxed response, right? Another one is progressive muscle relaxation. You can either start with up to your head, or you can start down by your feet, whatever those pieces are. You just notice the muscle group there, right? And you tense up whatever muscle group you're starting at and hold it for 10 seconds and just count down 10, 9, 8, so on, all the way down, right? And then you release and start from your feet and work all the way up to your neck, all the way up to your head, even scrunch up your face if you need to, right? And then relax it. You want to hold each one of those muscle groups for 10 seconds, you can go longer. And if you've gone from one part of your body to the next, just restart and do it again. Do it as many times as you feel necessary in order to help you start to feel more relaxed, right? Another one is talking through your stressors with a friend. I mean, that's one of the big pieces. Being able to actually go through the stressor, discuss it with somebody else, get a different perspective, and hear that, it may not be as big as what you're thinking about it in that moment. I know a lot of folks right now are on JBLM or having difficulties, because you're shut up at the house, things like that. You've got folks like Inflax who are standing by, who are willing to talk to you on the phone. We've got the mental health over there at Madigan to be able to call in, and they'll get you triaged to the right person just to talk those pieces through. Other things you can do are like exercises, right? Doing some sort of exercise in place, push-ups, sit-ups, whatever it is you feel, gets your blood flowing. That helps to get those endorphins going, and that actually helps lower cortisol as well. You can go out for a run, go out for a walk with a significant other. You can still practice social distancing while you're walking around, keeping your distance from other folks. Another one that I personally like to do is the mindfulness piece as it relates to a project. I love to paint. I love to do projects there in my garage. What I end up doing is I will go online, I'll go on Audible, get myself a little audiobook, and I'll go out and just start listening to the audiobook, right? Now what will happen is, while you're doing this project, if for some reason, try to keep your mind onto the story while you're doing the project, right? And if you find your mind straying from that project, that's okay, right? If you find yourself straying from the audiobook, that's okay as well. Just realize that you're a human being and your mind's going to go 90 miles an hour. The trick is to slowly teach yourself how to come back to that part of the book, right? So if you're listening to music, stay on a favorite song that you like. But if you're on an audiobook, rewind that back to where you remember where it was at. Need to talk? There you go, perfect. Inflac information coming up right there. Go back to the audiobook to where you remember where the story was at. Bring your mind back there, and then just go through it some more. What's some other ones? What's that? No, not that one. So the other ones, as in the way of your back to your brain, they have another one called transcendental meditation. And lots of folks try this. Everybody from George Lucas to lots of actors and everything like that. The idea is to find some sort of mantra in your mind, something that you like to say over and over again, whether it be a word or a phrase, right? And go back into that mindset. Find yourself a nice, comfy, relaxed place, and repeat that back to yourself over and over again. And what's going to happen is that it's going to bring you back into the moment, right? Your mind's going to want to wander left or right, different directions, and that's okay. Just remind it to come back to the mantra. Another one is what we call centering, right? It's a mindfulness exercise. You're going to find a nice quiet place again. You're going to close your eyes and simply focus on what you can hear. Do you hear a small, noise coming from your fridge? Do you hear a clock ticking? Things like that, right? And you're going to start to engage your five senses. Notice what you can taste. Did you drink coffee earlier in that day? What did you have to eat last? What's lingering in your mouth? What's that taste, right? Next one is what you can smell. What's the air? Even though you may smell nothing, focus on what that nothing is. How your body feels in the chair, how your feet feel grounded in the floor, in your shoes, in your socks, just the way you feel in that moment, right? Engage all your five senses, right? And what will happen is you'll slowly start to come into the moment, and then you can go down and start to focus on your breathing, right? And that's where you get the inhale, hold it for a couple seconds, and exhale, hold it out for a couple seconds, right? The trick is to get you centered in this moment, to get you out of your head and get you present, right? Sorry. Other activities like going out, things that you can actually do during this COVID-19 lockdown. So if you're stuck at the house, one things that I personally got done this last week, I'll come in, I'll do a little bit of my telework that I need to do, and I'll head out and I'll try finding a project that I need to do. If it's something as simple as mowing the yard, I'll go off, I'll kind of set myself on my own little schedule. Go out, I mow my yard, nice and relaxing. I come back in, check some emails, I'll send a couple emails, coordinate with some folks over the phone. Then I come back out into my project again, right? Find something in the house that kind of you can put your mind at in order to stay in the moment and work through something. Listening to music throughout the process always helps. The audiobook, like we said, that always helps. Things like something as simple as chewing gum, that helps. Just something that gets your body moving, all right? Supplements like vitamin C, vitamin D, it's very important during these times. Go out with your kids, find some sort of activity to do with your children. If you're out there, I know my daughter, she's 3, she loves bubbles now, and that's one of her big things. So we'll go out in the backyard and she'll blow bubbles. So while I spent that whole time, mowing the yard, getting everything ready, now we went out there and had a nice little time with my kids. Some of the other resources here at Joint Base Lewis McChord that we have within the Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness, we've got things like the victim advocacy, good ones to contact. You've got new parent support. New parent support will actually talk you through. I know they're all conducting teleconferences or telework right now. If you call in, you need difficulty, or you're having difficulty with kids, you're needing some parenting tips on like 1, 2, 3 magic, things like that. You can call in, talk to them. If you call at the 253-967-5901, we can get you all these resources. Another thing that we do right now through DIP for the Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness is we're offering classes online for life skills, relationships, and parenting. And other stress classes like this as well. So going back to stress and stress management, everybody deals with their stress differently. We all have difficulties. We all have issues that get us going, right? And the trick is to simply acknowledge what those issues are and just be real with it. If you're feeling the insomnia, you're feeling your irritability or increased or decreased energy levels, things like that, call into us. We can set you up some classes and get you educated on how we can help some. So through difficulties with staying at home with the COVID-19, you also got to keep in mind that it's going to hit everybody differently. We're all going to have stressors where we're sitting there with our significant other, and you love them to death, but you just don't want to be in the same room with them, and that's okay, right? Difficulties with your kids. I know that over the last week, I've been home with my whole family, and it's been a trying time. There are times where it's like I just need to talk to my spouse, and I say, hey, look, I need a little bit of time out, right? My spouse and I, we both kind of understand that from one another, so I'll try to give her a little bit of time in order to where she can go up and take a bath or do whatever she wants to do for a little bit to kind of take time to herself. And then at the same time, for whenever she sees me getting stressed, it's okay to talk to one another and say, hey, look, I need some time right now. Whenever you're difficulties with if you're trying to get to the SAFE line, it's 253-966-SAFE, which is 7233. That's our SAFE line number. It goes directly to our victim advocates who can actually get you to the good resources if there's any type of domestic abuse situations that are going on at the house as well. So we've gone through stress management, some coping skills through there. I gave you some good resources to hit up if you're having difficulties there at the house. Again, let us know. You can find our classes at the JBLM familyadvocacy.timetap.com, or again, you can call the 253-967-5901. I hope some of this information has helped you guys, and just let us know if we can do anything else for you. Thank you.